On August 3rd, 2026, President Donald Trump signed an executive order creating a Presidential Military Spouse Commission. The signing was followed by nearly an hour of questions and wide-ranging remarks about military benefits, immigration, Iran, crime, the Coast Guard, and American politics.
We examined 9 of the most significant factual claims. Some were blatantly false, others began with real information, but were exaggerated or stripped of necessary context.
We're also going to distinguish between a proven factual error and a statement that remains disputed or impossible to verify.
The first one, the first ever Military Spouse Commission. Okay, Trump called the new organization the first ever Presidential Military Spouse Commission and said there had never been anything like it. The exact commission and title may be new, but the suggestion that previous presidents had not organized major efforts for military spouses is totally false. In 2011, the Obama administration launched Joining Forces, a nationwide White House initiative supporting military families through employment, education, health, and wellness programs. It built upon a presidential directive establishing a coordinated federal approach to military family concerns.
Trump himself also signed a 2018 executive order expanding federal employment opportunities for military spouses.
Yeah, the new commission is real, but it is part of a long history of presidential military family initiatives, not something without precedent. And that is verified by roll call, if you want to check out the reference.
The president also said that every service member received a $1,776 warrior dividend at Christmas. He then appeared to describe it as a military pay raise. The payment was real, but not every service member qualified. Approximately 1.45 million people were eligible. Active duty members had to be in pay grade 0 through 6 or below. Reservists generally had to be serving on active duty orders lasting at least 31 days.
So senior officers and many reserve members were excluded from this.
That's correct, Jenna. It was also a one-time housing allowance supplement, not a permanent pay raise. The verdict, the payment was real, but every service member and pay raise were inaccurate descriptions.
Trump said the United States had one old icebreaker while Russia had 48. He then said America would soon receive 11 new ones. The Coast Guard officially identified 3 American polar icebreakers in service: the Polar Star, the Healy, and the Stories.
Trump may have been referring only to the Polar Star as America's sole operational heavy polar icebreaker, but he didn't make that distinction.
No, he did not. The Coast Guard has awarded contracts for 11 Arctic security cutters. However, awarding contracts does not mean 11 completed ships are about to arrive. The first delivery is expected in 2028. Verdict: the one icebreaker claim was misleading, while the 11 ship program was presented as further along than it actually was. And that also comes from roll call if you want to check that out.
Asked whether talks with Iran had ended, Trump answered, "No, no, they're on. They're going on right now." Iran's foreign minister said, no. It said Iran was not holding direct talks with the United States and was instead negotiating with Oman, about temporary passage through the Strait of Hormuz.
That does not necessarily prove Trump's statement was false. Governments sometimes communicate through intermediaries or confidential channels.
But it means that the claim could not be independently confirmed and was directly contradicted by Iran.
Sounds kind of suspicious to me. The
Does to me too,
most,
Dr. Weaver.
yeah, the most responsible verdict is probably disputed and unverified. My personal opinion is a little bit more harsh than that, but that's okay. We can't say that it is conclusively false, I suppose. As of August 4, the status of any American Iranian negotiations remain uncertain.
Trump suggested that presidents in other countries had failed for 50 years to pursue Iran's denuclearization. That omitted the most important diplomatic effort of the period, the 2015 Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, commonly called the Iran Nuclear Agreement. Iran agreed to restrictions on enrichment, reductions in nuclear capacity, and international monitoring in exchange for sanctions relief.
The agreement did not permanently eliminate Iran's nuclear program, and critics argued that its restrictions were inadequate or temporary.
But it was clearly an attempt to prevent Iran from developing nuclear weapons, and Trump ended American participation in that agreement in May 2018. Verdict: it is fair to criticize the earlier agreement, but it is misleading to suggest that previous presidents did nothing about Iran's nuclear program. That also comes from roll call.
And Trump said that open borders had allowed, now get this, 11,888 murders into the country and claimed that many had committed more than one murder. The number appears to come from ICE's non-detained docket, but that docket accumulated cases over several decades and multiple administrations. It included people who had originally entered legally, including permanent residents. It also included some people serving sentences in state or federal prison.
Non detained by ICE does not necessarily mean freely walking the streets. It means ICE itself was not holding that person in an immigration detention facility.
And it's very important to notice, my friends, that the statistic did not show that all of them had entered under Biden or through any other recent border policies.
We also found no published ICE evidence supporting Trump's additional assertion that many had committed multiple murders. The verdict? The number was presented without the information that was necessary to understand what it measured.
Trump said, in 15 months, not one person has come in through our southern border illegally. That was false. Border crossings and encounters have fallen after Trump returned to office, but Customs and Border Protection continued to record attempted illegal crossings. There were just under 28,000 Border Patrol encounters during 2025, with additional encounters recorded during 2026.
The administration has repeatedly announced months with zero releases into the country. That is not the same as zero crossings or zero apprehensions.
And the government cannot prove that no one crossed without being detected.
Trump had a decline in crossings to report, changing a very few into not one person might have made the claim false.
Trump also said His opponents wanted 21 or even 23 Supreme Court justices. He also claimed they wanted to eliminate the Senate, the presidency, and possibly the Supreme Court itself. This appears to combine two different political proposals. The Democratic Socialists of America have published a platform calling for the Senate to be abolished and for the President and Supreme Court to be replaced with institutions subordinate to Congress as in a parliamentary system.
But Dr. Deneen, that is the platform of one socialist organization, not proof that all Democrats support it.
Yes, Chandler, you're right. Meanwhile, Democratic proposals to expand the Supreme Court have generally called for 13 justices, not 21, much less 23. The verdict, Trump referred to real fringe proposals but generalized them to his political opposition in general and added unsupported Supreme Court numbers according to roll call.
Trump said Democratic cities have massive crime, while Republicans have very little. That is false. That is not a valid crime statistic. The FBI collects crime reports from local, state, tribal, and federal law enforcement agencies. It does not calculate separate Democratic and Republican crime rates.
Trump did not explain whether Republicans meant Republican voters, Republican mayors, Republican controlled cities, counties, or entire states.
Without a defined population time period of measurement, the statement can simply not be tested as presented.
That's right, Dr. Deneen. Preliminary FBI figures showed violent crime and murder declining nationally during 2025. Those were nationwide trends. This had nothing to do with statistics belonging exclusively to either party. And the verdict here is the statement was an unsupported political generalization. This was not a documented comparison.
Yep, the August 3 remarks mixed genuine accomplishments with exaggerated, disputed, and misleading claims.
The clearest errors concern so called universal military payments, the number of American icebreakers, and the idea of zero illegal border crossings.
Now, other statements used real information but removed the context needed to understand it.
Yep. Hey, listen, thanks for joining us. Come back and look for some more. We're going to fact check. We are going to do it. Thank you so much. Come back and join us again real soon.
Bye bye, folks. Leave a
Bye.
comment, subscribe. See you next time.